Hey there, and welcome back to The Last Viking TV. Now, the moment that we've been waiting for, we've heard a lot about this hydroxychloroquine with the ZPAC, and so we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. This is brand new news released today, about 30 minutes ago. So here we go. ABC News reports that coronavirus live updates. FDA gives drugs not an approval, but an emergency approval to treat COVID 19. Here we go. A pandemic of the novel coronavirus has claimed the lives of more than 36,000 people across the globe. Before we go into this, please drop a subscribe as I am trying to grow my channel and get more recognized by YouTube's algorithm. Having more subscribers and more views helps get the word out that I am trying to share with you guys the truth news about what's going on. My channel has a lot of random content. It's not always about the coronavirus just right now because information helps people understand the virus, so then that way the panic doesn't become worse than the actual virus itself. So please drop a subscribe and share. Moving on, the new respiratory virus, which causes an illness known as, officially as COVID 19, has rapidly spread to every continent except Antarctica. Since first emerging in China in December, there are now more than 766,000 diagnosed cases of COVID 19. According to data compiled by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins University, at least 160,000 of those patients have recovered from the disease. With more than 153,000 diagnosed COVID 19 cases, the United States has by far the highest national tally in the world. At least 2,828 people have died in the U.S. Today's biggest developments: FDA gives anti-malarial drug emergency approval to treat COVID 19. Tokyo Olympics will open in July 20th, 21. Navy hospital ships arrive in New York. Nearly 200 aboard Florida-bound cruise report flu-like symptoms. So there are, in a cruise ship off of Florida, 200 of them report flu-like symptoms. So, yeah, most likely they're going to have the COVID-19. Here's how the news is developing today. All times Eastern, please refresh this page for updates. So, 2:30 p.m., arrest warrant is issued for a pastor who held services despite safer at home order. So, there was a warrant issued for a pastor who held services despite safer at home order. So he continued to have his church service in ignoring the stay at home order. An arrest warrant has been issued for a Florida pastor who allegedly held two large services on Sunday despite a safer at home order issued in the state. Tampa area pastor Rodney Howard Brown intentionally and repeatedly chose to disregard the order set in place by our president, our governor, the CDC, and the Hillsborough County Emergency Policy Group. Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Cronister said at a news conference Monday, the warrant is for unlawful assembly in violation of a public health emergency order. Cronister said the pastor's reckless disregard for human life puts hundreds of congregants and thousands of residents at risk. Since Friday, the sheriff's office was in contact with the River at Tampa Bay Church and received an anonymous tip that Howard Brown refused the request to stop large gatherings, the sheriff said. Officers went to church to speak with Howard Brown, but according to the sheriff, the pastor would not speak with them. Attorneys for the church told the sheriff's office that they refused to cancel services, according to Cronister. The church could have opted for live stream services, but instead disobeyed the stay at home order and even provided bus transportation for parishioners, the sheriff said. Howard Brown told congregants Sunday, "I know they're trying to beat me up about having the church operational, but we are not a non essential service." Howard Brown was expected to turn himself in on Monday, the sheriff said. 2 p.m. Maryland governor worried pandemic will soon escalate in D.C. area. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is warning that medical experts say the coronavirus pandemic could escalate within 2 weeks in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland region, where it could reassemble. Again, we're going by what could happen. And it's ridiculous. You got to deal with what's going on right now at the moment. You can't plan for something that you don't know is going to happen without any facts. I mean, it's right now, and everyone's in uncharted territory. We don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to go, but we have to use all the resources we have right now to nip this virus in the butt. That's pretty much what we got to do. If we minimize it now, and hold off on attacking this very aggressively right now, it's going to get worse. And by the time it gets worse, what we have stockpiled, like what Como does in New York, stockpile ventilators and holds them off from the other states in the United States right now, you're going to have a bigger problem later on that no matter what you stockpile later on, it's not going to be effective because it'll be too big. We have to use all of our resources right now at this moment to stop the virus in its tracks. Hogan issued a stay-at-home order, executive order on Monday that directs state residents to stay at home unless they have an essential job, need to leave, buy food or medicine, or get medical attention. The governor warned that violators would be charged with a misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in prison and or a fine up to $5,000. Wow. That sucks. Yeah, you could get a year in prison and up to $5,000. The governor warned. So that was Hogan. Not really sure what governor that Hogan is from, but yeah. If you know what Governor Hogan is, what state Governor Hogan is for, then please comment down below. He also said that residents should not travel out of state unless absolutely necessary. Soldiers from the Maryland National Guard stand guard at a site they build for screening people for the coronavirus in a parking lot at FedEx Field, March 30th, 2020, in Landover, MD. Maryland has now surpassed 1,400 cases of COVID-19. A stay-at-home order was also issued Monday in Virginia, where at least 25 people have died. In Virginia, at least 1,218 people have died from the coronavirus in New York. Andrew Cuomo said Monday, "We've lost over 1,000 New Yorkers. To me, we're beyond staggering already." Cuomo said, "The only point now is to do everything you can to save every life possible." That's right, and including hoarding unneeded ventilators for your one state rather than giving them to other states that need them. That's a good idea. Only one county in New York State has no diagnosed COVID-19 cases, Cuomo said. Over 66,000 people have tested positive in the state, including 9,500 patients in hospitals, Cuomo said. Of those in hospitals, 2,300 people are in intensive care units. Over 4,200 people have been hospitalized and discharged, he said. New York City still has too much density, Cuomo said, threatening to close down playgrounds if people do not stay inside or maintain effective social distancing while going outside for fresh air. After the coronavirus outbreak quarantined thousands of passengers on a massive cruise liner, Carnival Cruise Line said Monday it will continue to suspend operations in North America through May 11th. Okay, so this information, Carnival Cruise Ship said Monday that they will suspend operations in North America through May 11th. The reason why is because there is no relief package fund for those cruise ships. So because they can't get money, they're going to go and do their business elsewhere. But elsewhere, guess what? The virus is also there. So they're going to do business where they can get money. Just keep in mind, sleazy businesses and luxury cruise liners like the Carnival Cruise Ship that continue to operate and do business in other countries, just probably not things that you would probably ever want to go back on, just because if they do business like that, they're probably not as clean or as sanitized as you would like them to be. Keep in mind, this can re-spark after it's already gone down. So once we get this this calm of this virus and it kind of everything goes back to normal for like a little while, it could re-spike, because cruise lines like this that don't infect, that don't care, if they don't care about their customers and they don't care about the virus and they want to go out to other countries and they don't want to do business where they can't get money, then that shows that they're most likely not clean and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing for the protection of people and only for themselves, then that's probably showing signs that they're not going to be as clean as they should be. Just kind of a FYI. Royal Caribbean has currently suspended global operations through May 11th, and Princess Cruise Ship Line has suspended trips until at least May 10th. Norwegian Cruise Line currently plans to lift its suspension on April 12th. Italy, by far the hardest hit when it comes to fatalities, has now reached 101,739 total coronavirus cases, according to the country's Civil Protection Agency. As of Monday, 11,591 people in Italy have died, officials say, but Italy, which went on a countrywide lockdown March 9th, is seeing some positive news as the total number of active infected patients rose by only 2.2% over the last 24 hours. There were 1,648 new cases in the last day, as opposed to 3,815 from the day before. Also, the number of patients reported as having recovered from the illness as of Monday is the highest daily total reported so far, with 1,590 no longer infected. The USNS Comfort Hospital ship arrived in the harbor of hard-hit New York City Monday morning. The ship will treat non-coronavirus patients on board to try to lighten the burden of the city's hospitals, where doctors are focusing on combating the pandemic. At least 776 people have died in New York City. The New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio called the ship's arrival a major moment in this long battle. Our nation has heard our plea for help, he said. There could not be a better example of all America pulling for New York City than the arrival of the USNS Comfort. The mayor called the ship a big boost in the city's needed to triple hospital bed capacity by May. To all New Yorkers, the mayor said, "We are not alone. Our nation is helping us in our hour of need." As the death toll climbs in New York, the mayor warned the toughest weeks are still ahead. Another hospital ship, the USNS Mercy, has opened for business in the port of Los Angeles, where it'll be treating non-coronavirus patients on board. So, yeah. A man walks wearing face as a preventative measure against the spread of the coronavirus in front of the U.S. Naval Hospital ship Mercy, March 28th. So what we know about the novel coronavirus, how it started. and how to protect yourself. What to do if you have symptoms. Tracking the spread of the U.S. worldwide. The opening ceremony of the 2020 Summer Olympics, we're looking for the the vaccines, actually. So we're going to go on over here and go more fatalities. Here we go. When asked about the clinical trials on potential therapeutics to treat COVID-19, Fauci said he hopes by late spring or early summer they'll get a signal in one of those drugs to see whether it works or not. And if it does, we'll widely distribute it, he added. And if it doesn't, we'll just get it off the shelf, get it off the table, because it won't be usable. Fauci said a vaccine will take longer. We're in the phase 1 trial. We went into it as quickly as possible, as we possibly could. The fastest ever, he said, but still the process at rocket speed takes about a year to a year and a half. So if we cycle with this outbreak and it comes back next fall, we might have the early components of a vaccine ready to counter that outbreak, likely next winter. At least 189 people aboard the Holland America Line cruise are suffering flu-like symptoms, a cruise line spokesperson told ABC. That is the Holland America Line cruise ship. 4 people have died aboard the MS Zaandam Holland America Line, announced Friday. At least 2 people tested positive for the novel coronavirus on Thursday, according to the cruise line. The MS Zaandam set out from Buenos Aires for a South American cruise on March 7th with 1,243 guests and 586 crew on board. The voyage was supposed to end in San Antonio, Chile, on March 21st, but the vessel has remained at sea since Chilean government refused its permission to dock and disembark. The ship began passing through the Panama Canal late Sunday night after being moored off the coast of Panama for several days. The country's government wouldn't allow the ship to disembark passengers. The ship exited the canal on Monday morning. If you found that this article was kind of informative to you, gave you a little bit of updates on as to where the coronavirus is going, we can go ahead and please subscribe and share. Right now I'm going to cover the last topic here. FDA gives anti-malarial drugs emergency approval to treat COVID-19. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued a limited emergency use of authorization for 2 anti-malarial drugs to treat those infected with the novel coronavirus. In a statement released Sunday night, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced it had received 30 million doses of hydroxychloroquine sulfate and 1 million doses of HYDROXY. What is that? CHLOROQUINE phosphate donated to a national stockpile of potentially life-saving pharmaceuticals. And a medical supply. Hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, which are oral prescription drugs used primarily to prevent and treat malaria, are both being investigated as potential therapeutics for COVID-19. The statement noted that the FDA had issued an emergency use of authorization to allow both donated drugs to be distributed and prescribed by doctors to hospitalized teens and adult patients with COVID-19 as appropriate when a clinical trial is not available for feasible. Federal agencies such as the National Institute of Health and Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority are working together to plan clinical trials. Please subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, The Last Viking TV is out. Have a great day. Thank you so much.